Alright, the crash Carta, or homemade micarta, has been taken out of the press. It's been allowed to set up very stiff, as it should be. But I've on occasion done one, or may have had some attempts, and you can tell by looking at that it did not set up as appropriate. And I don't know what the cause was. Maybe somebody who works with fiberglass a lot could tell me. But I was using the same amount of hardener and the same amount of resin that I've used on other batches. When that happens, what I do is I just throw out that tube of hardener and move to a new tube. But it hasn't always been the entire tube. I don't know if impurities got in or what, but not every attempt has been successful, so just something to keep in mind. Now all I want to do is knock off the ends to smooth this up and then remove the wax paper. Got the two pieces of handle material, and we'll go inside and clean it up on the grinder a little bit. I just want to clean this up. I mean, you could peel the wax paper off, but it won't also clean up these edges here a little bit, so find it easier to do on this. That's the first one. I'll do the second one, and then we'll mark the outline of the handle on it for cutting. Alright, I've got the knife here. I've got the part that we've ground taped up. So I'll be sanding on the handle material, and don't want to accidentally sand in this area. So just to protect the area that we've already finished. I marked a little mark with just a marker here and extended it out just a little bit here and just a little bit here, and that's going to be the edge of where the handle material starts. So what I've done is knocked off the big chunks of the wax paper and all that. I'll refine that a little bit more, and rounded this edge a little bit, and I'll definitely refine that some more. But now I want to mark out the blade, and the way I do that is set it on there where that tick mark is, and I try not to get too close to the edges here, and let me show you why. Right at the edges where the press is, I don't know if that shows up very well, but the layering isn't even. It kind of gets squished around right at the very edges of the press where the overflow was. You can grind that off further, but if you stay away from the edges, you're generally okay. That's about where I want it. I'm just going to outline that with the marker. And in an effort to not do to get the sides right, like not put the green toward it on one side and the olive drab on another, what I do is, as you can see, I've got that marked. I flip this over, and then I just number the sides. This is going to be 1, and this is going to be 1. So that side is going to face the blade. Then I do the same thing with the other side for number 2. And then we're going to cut them out. Be right back. With the marking on here, I'm going to cut it out. I don't go right to the line. I get close to it. I don't mind having a little excess to sand off, because if I go too far, then you're making another set of handles. So sanding is easy. Just takes a little time. to number 2 and move on to the next step. The next thing I want to do is clean up the ends here, smooth them out a little bit, which I've done with a 50 grit belt. Now I'm going to use a 220 grit belt, and that'll be enough. After they're attached to the knife and then you thin that down, it's kind of tough to do anything with that edge. So do that before you attach it to the knife. So let's see. Flying paper towels. But now that's dressed up and it gives it a neater appearance, because after it's attached to the knife, it's really tough to sand on there. Let's attach them to the knife. Alright, what I'm going to use to attach to the knife, and I've got the camera off to the side rather than straight on, it's just easier than working around the camera. Hopefully it'll keep my hands out of the way for you. What I'm going to use to attach these handles or these scales, these Crash Carta scales, to the knife is, I like using Gorilla Glue. A lot of people use epoxy. There's various kinds of epoxy. What I have found personally, because when I first started making knives, I didn't have carbide bits, so I wasn't able to pin them. You have to pin your handles. You have to use adhesive on your handles. Once you do those 2 steps, then you're fine. But I dropped a knife, just dropped it, didn't throw it, and it had been epoxied on with Devcon 2-ton epoxy, and it just, both sides of the handles just flew off. So I did a little testing, and I can make them come off if they're not pinned with this, but it's a heck of a lot harder. This is 100% waterproof. There are variations out there that are not. So make sure you get the, Gorilla Glue, 100% waterproof, bonds, wood, stone, metal, glass, ceramics, foam, and more. So that's what I prefer to use. It's a lot less expensive. It's easier to work with. It does foam up a little bit as it dries, and you'll see that. But I like this, so that's what we're going to use. I'm going to do side 1 first. So I find handle 1. And it's going to go on like that. So just add the glue to the steel. You can use a little water to wet the steel. The directions talk about if you're bonding 2 hard surfaces. I have found that on the Crash Carta scales and the steel that I'm using here, it doesn't make a bit of difference. So this is the way I do it. And then put them on. Remember, I've got that little mark on the edge there, so I know where I want to go. I just want to cover that mark. And then I'm going to clamp them on there now. Easier to clamp, put the first clamp on and then move things around. That mark is covered, and then make sure that the handle material covers all the steel, and then clamp the rest of it. Give it a good squeeze. Double check it to make sure you've got it where you want it, because after the glue sets, you're not going to move it. That looks pretty good. And I'll let that sit for a minimum of 2 hours. I'll be back.